So if you're thinking of becoming a coach, there's some things that we've learned from our practice that might help you. So first one, step one, is educate yourself. So find out what it is. Now, from our perspective, coaching is time and space to think and plan with another person who will really listen to you and ask great questions and to help you find the wisdom that you already had and maybe deepen it so that you can take action towards the goals that you might have. So there are lots of different kinds of coaching: executive coaching, leadership coaching, personal coaching, what's often called life coaching. From our perspective, they do use the same skills, tools, and techniques. What's different is the context. So if you wanted to become an executive coach, for example, you'd need to understand a little about what the kind of context is that people who are in senior leadership positions or management positions would be in. The next thing to think about is whether it's something that you'd be suited to. I would imagine if you're thinking of coaching, it's for a variety of reasons. You might want to give something back. You might want to make a living from it. You might want to take a coaching approach at work. People might come to you for advice and you might be a shoulder to cry on. If you really enjoy listening to understand, and if you're up for learning about yourself, then do take the next step. Step two, find the right training. So finding the right training that fits your needs and supports you to become a responsible and confident coach can be a bit daunting because there are so many different options, from introductory weekends to in-depth academic studies based on the huge body of work there now is, written work that there now is. So how do you choose? We have a view that might help you. So in developing your coaching skills, we recognize that having a solid theoretical basis is really important. You need to understand how people think, how people change, what obstacles people might have to change, even when they want it. But you also need to have a space which gives you opportunity to practice. Practice-based over a period of time is really important. One of the things I think that gets overlooked in coach training is the willingness and the ability of the learner coach to be really reflective. So choose a program, a training program where reflection's built in so that you're practicing, you're having a go, but you're also reflecting on how that's gone and how you are in it. It's also important to choose a program which is accredited by one of the main accreditation bodies. Our program is accredited by the Association for Coaching, and that provides a kind of kite mark of rigor. Most importantly, and we think this is really important, you don't do a quick training, but you take your time so that you become really confident, and that by the end of the training that you are happy to go and work with people in the real world. So the third step is practice, practice, practice. Try it out. Have a go at how it feels to try these techniques and really see if it's possible for you to get feedback. For us, that requires making sure that you have a group of supportive, challenging peers around you, where feedback is built in so that you're not under any illusions about how you're coming across. And if you're working with volunteer clients, which we strongly advise during your training, that you choose volunteer clients who, some may come from your world, so from the world of work that you're used to, but others we would suggest that you choose people who really who don't speak your professional language, where you have to work harder to understand the kind of world that they're coming from. And support your practice with studies. So whilst you're practicing, read, watch, listen. There's loads of stuff now, loads of podcasts. We've done some brilliant ones. And some fantastic stuff on YouTube, audio books, and things that you can read if you want to be really retro. Practice is a kind of lifelong skill that you're never going to get to the point where you're perfect, because you have to keep learning. I'll say more about that later. The next step forward is graduate successfully. We think it's really important to become qualified, but we also think that's only a small part of a much bigger picture. So making sure that you've been rigorous in your practice, that you've studied, that you've got your qualification, but knowing that you have to keep learning, and that by committing to that, you'll continue to grow and adapt to each new client. So step 5, what about accreditation? So at the moment, I think coaching is going through something of a professional revolution. It's not, as it stands, it's not a regulated industry. So unlike psychotherapy and counselling, you don't have to be qualified, actually, to be a coach. You can just say you are. I think that's changing, and I'm glad it's changing. I think that the world of coaching is becoming much more professionalised. And whilst at the moment it's not legally necessary for you to be personally accredited by a body like the Association for Coaching, I suspect in the future it's going to open more doors for you if you are personally accredited. If you're thinking about personal accreditation, what it means is, to start with, you have to do a program or training that is an accredited program. You then go through a period where you work with the accrediting body, and you build up your hours with your clients, you have supervision, you commit to continual professional development and reflective practice, and you submit some kind of account of that, and that enables personal accreditation. If you study with us, for the year that you're training with us, you get student membership of the Association for Coaching, and they will help fast track you onto personal accreditation. So whilst it's not necessary at the moment, it probably will be in the future, and it's worth thinking about whether that's right for you. That's it. You get the work and get paid. I think it's really important to start with, what kind of clients do you want to work with? In what context? What sort of questions or issues would you enjoy working? And you may not know to begin with, so you can experiment. At the moment, executive or leadership coaching, or coaching within an organisational context, tends to have more scope in terms of fees than what is traditionally called life coaching. If you're going to coach professionally, you'll need to put in place supervision and public liability insurance. And just Google that, because it's very straightforward. And you need to decide how much you're going to charge. And whether you're going to get work on your own, or whether you're going to do that with another body, like a coaching consultancy or another organisation. Obviously, the amount of work you get depends entirely on how successful you are at attracting work. I think the best way of doing that is through word of mouth. Now we're at step 7. And it's simple. Keep learning and growing. Coaching's so much more than a qualification or a set of tools and techniques. It's a way of being. And that way of being, to stay lively and vibrant, requires you to keep learning and growing. Reading, listening, watching, attending workshops, going to continual professional development, and making sure that your skill set and you as a human being are fresh and awake. That will help you when you're working with new clients. And clients are the best sort of learning for me. You have to relearn the dance every single time you work with a different client, and allow them to teach you the steps. I also think ongoing supervision is really important, and that you find really good supervision. Supervision is going to stretch you and help you connect with yourself in coaching, not just what you do, but who you are. So we can help you with all of these 7 steps. There are things that we offer for coaches at every stage of their development. Our coach training is very rigorous, it's very human, and there's a lot of applied practice. You'll get to know yourself really well through doing our kind of training. We think having training that works with you as a person is going to make it more possible for you to coach safely and effectively for a long period of time, and to really enjoy it, because it's a great thing to do.